Good morning, my creative writing students. I am so excited to be working with you this term. We are going to have such a wonderful time together. We are beginning to learn about creative nonfiction. It is nonfiction where writers can be poetic and journalistic at the same time. Your words can change the world one reader at a time. So without delay, let's talk about how to be successful in this class and how to keep up with your daily plan and to get answers to any questions that you may have. Here are Mrs. Morris's No Fail Creative Writing Tips for Success. Remember that zeros are entered every Monday. Please make sure to look at your daily plan each day and read and complete everything assigned. Read every question in the discussion prompt and answer those questionable quizzes the best you can. Complete notebook assignments and evaluate your writing with the rubric provided. We will go through each one of these tips step by step. Here's the class plan for the remainder of this week. Notice your discussions. Please complete your discussions. This is a great time to share your thoughts with other members of the class, and it is also a wonderful way to receive many, many points. When you see quizzes, please refer to the material in your curriculum. Make sure that you understand them before you attempt the quiz. You are welcome to take the quiz as many times as you'd like. You should have a writer's notebook. It's a great way to generate writing. Put all of your thoughts there and spend at least 10 to 15 minutes every day answering the prompts that you are given in your assignment in the class plan each day. You should have many, many ideas or things that will spark ideas that you can use for your unit projects. Here is an example of a discussion post. Look at each of these questions. Remember, when you answer a discussion post, to answer each question. Make sure that you do your best to address each aspect of the discussion. I want to give you all the points possible. Remember that writing is a process, and it's not always a linear one. You can pre-write and draft and then go back to pre-writing, and then you can revise, and then you can decide that you need to go back and write again. We can help with editing and publishing, and the final product will be wonderful. Here are the items that are due in Unit 6. While it looks like quite a few items, as you will notice, there are not many writing assignments. We have some discussions, which we love, a wonderful way to earn points. We have some quizzes. Showing in figurative language is our first writing assignment. And then we have a draft of creative nonfiction, which leads to the unit project of creative nonfiction. Please do not feel overwhelmed by the number of items in these units. Only do the part that is assigned each day. It's very small, very brief, and you will be caught up and you will do well, and your writing skills will increase. Creative nonfiction is a wonderful place to start. It is based on fact, but you sprinkle elements of fiction in, and it gives it a wonderful creative feel. As you can notice, there are elements of fiction, such as showing rather than telling, made up plots and characters, any tone, dialogue. There are things that are specific to nonfiction. It's based on fact and research. It's non-personal. The tone is straightforward. This is what we are studying, the blending of the two. Using fact, but adding showing and voice and tone and descriptive and figurative language to make our factual stories wonderful to read and tell and experience. In Unit 6 on Slide 8, you will have a chance to look at a number of writers and how they are generating ideas and coming up with their own creative fictional pieces. When you write creative nonfiction, you can use metaphors, similes, imagery, personification, and you can vary the tone. We will review each of these briefly. Let's discuss figurative language and review the main types that we will use. And we will practice using effective figurative language. Perhaps the next time we meet in a live class, we will work on doing that in a live session. As you will remember, a simile compares two things, using the words like or as. The church is like a magical castle in the sky. The lake is as smooth as glass. You must have the words like or as in order to have a simile. Metaphors function in much the same way. You compare two items in a metaphor without the use of like or as. The greatest thing by far is to be a master of the metaphor. This was a quote by Aristotle, and someone put a picture of Einstein there. So sad. A metaphor is like a simile in that the expression compares two things without like or as. Here's an example of a metaphor. Her eyes are jewels sparkling in the sun. His teeth are white pearls. The comparison is made without like or as. Metaphors compare things so that readers can imagine something a certain way. His room was a massive junkyard. The classroom was a three-ring circus. In a course such as this, I imagine that you are very much aware of similes and metaphors and that you are able to use them effectively in your writing. Let's move on to imagery. Imagery can give the reader an impression of any of the five senses. When you are young, you learn about the world around you using your eyes and ears and your nose and your hands to feel, and you taste things. That's how you learn about the world. So when you're writing and you want your reader to experience the world through your eyes, if you incorporate these five senses, it brings your writing to life. The stunning orange and red swirls of the flame burned my eyes like a million suns. Can't you just see the orange and the red and the swirl? It's much different than saying it was bright. The howling dogs sounded like clashing knives in a ferocious battle. Can you hear those knives clashing? Can you smell the popping and crackling of bacon? Can you taste the cranberry sauce? It's tangy. And can you touch the rough bark or a calloused hand? My father owned a farm, and he worked hard all of his life, and I could still remember feeling the calluses on his hands, on his palms, on his fingers when I was little. Let's find the imagery. The soot-stained chimney belched out clouds of smoke that was the color of dirty dishwater and smelled like burnt plastic. Imagery is rampant. The soot-stained chimney belched. That's a very definite sight. Dirty dishwater. Can you just see that dirty dishwater? And anyone who's ever smelt plastic burning will not forget that sensation. Try to describe a sunset without using the word sun. Pause this recording for 1 minute and see what you come up with. See if you can use words to paint a picture. Let's talk about other tools that writers can use when they want to create creative nonfiction. Hyperbole is the greatest, most spectacular thing in the history of the entire world. Of course, hyperbole is an exaggeration so wild that no one could possibly take it seriously. I'm so hungry I could eat you. I love this. I'm so hungry I could eat a horse. I will literally die if you don't stop using hyperboles incorrectly, which of course you won't. Remember, it's exaggerated statements. An overstatement. It cannot be taken literally. Your dad did not have a cow when he saw your grades, and you did not die from laughing. Let's talk about personification as a quick review of another tool you may use in creative nonfiction. This is giving human characteristics to non-human things. My extra small jeans struggled to say button all day. Jeans are not humans. They cannot take on human qualities. They cannot struggle. Therefore, it is personification. The dark shadows in the alleyway told me to turn around and run. Those dark shadows cannot tell you anything. They cannot talk to you. It is personification. The tall grass danced in the breeze. Of course, grass can't dance. That is personification. It is giving a personal quality to an inanimate object. Let's look at the meaning of words. Denotation and connotation. Denotation is a strict dictionary definition of the word. Connotation is the emotional and imaginative association surrounding the word. When I lived in Jerusalem, I visited a Holocaust memorial, and I saw two words. I saw death camps and I saw extermination camps. Extermination and death may have similar meanings in the dictionary, but the connotation is entirely different. What does extermination mean to you? And what does death mean to you? There's a big difference between a dictionary definition and all of the feelings surrounding a word. Immature and youthful may have the same denotation or dictionary definition, but many of my students would rather be called youthful than immature. Immature has a connotation that is very negative. What about stingy? No one wants to be stingy. That has a bad connotation, worse than thrifty. Let's review tone. It's not just your voice, it's in your writing as well. Tone isn't an action, it's an attitude. Listen to my voice. Come here, Sally. Or secretive, come here, Sally. Or excited, come here, Sally. Of course, your tone adds new meaning to whatever is said, but tone is also a function of your writing. Tone is not explained or expressed directly. A reader can read between the lines to feel the author's attitude and tone. Here are some examples of tone: cautious or hostile, or desperate or enthusiastic. Those are all tones that you can write, depending on your subject and your feeling about your subject. The rest of these slides we will complete together when we return to our live classes on April 12th. We will cover figurative language, and we will cover practicing figurative language in different scenarios. Remember, carefully consider the title and first sentence of anything that you write. It can set the tone for the piece. Please introduce the who, what, when, where, why, and how of a creative nonfiction piece. The first sentence is always so important. at an Anglo-Indian day school in Zarinabad, to which my sister and I were sent when she was 8 and I was 5.5, they changed our names. So much is said in that first sentence. As you begin to write your creative nonfiction piece, think about the title, think about the first sentence, think about drawing your readers in with those two very important aspects of your writing. Remember, revision is a very important part of writing. Next week, there will be a part of a discussion where you can submit your drafts for your creative nonfiction pieces, and other students can give you feedback. Remember that feedback is indispensable for you. It's very difficult for you as a writer to be objective about the things that you've written. Let others try to understand and feel the tone of the piece and understand the things that you are trying to say. Remember that your nonfiction piece, something that happened to you or something that is based in fact, is the basis for your unit project, but you will add your fictional elements, the ones we've gone over, such as simile, metaphor, personification. You will add your tone. You will make it your own. The unit project is 2 to 3 page, double-spaced. Please be aware of the details, and please make sure that after you receive feedback, you take that into consideration. Before submitting your final project, you can do this check, which is found in your curriculum. It will help you to make sure that your project is ready for submission. Select one of the notebook entries you've been working on and begin to turn it into your creative nonfiction piece. When I have students who are struggling to come up with a creative nonfiction piece, I ask them such questions as, think about the greatest thing that's happened in your life, or the hardest thing. Think about the person that means the most to you in this life. Why? Why does he or she mean the most to you? Think about a time you spent with him or her. I ask them to think about a possession they have that means more to them than anything else in the world, and then write about it. And why? Why does it mean so much to you? Write the facts, and then you can add the nonfiction part. Excuse me, the fiction part. If you have questions, I am happy to help you at any time. I will be in New York from Thursday until Monday. Next week, we will meet for our first live class. After that, if you have questions, we will open up writing labs where I can help you one-on-one. I will meet whatever needs we have to make sure that you are successful. Please remember to work on your class plan each day. Do exactly what is written there, and you will be successful. Please call or text or email at any time for help in any way. I will get back to you as soon as I return from New York, and we will make sure that you are successful. Thank you so much.